Hi, can you tell me who you are?
Yes, I'm Rod Scott from Mandeville, Louisiana.
Rod, you just testified here before the Senate and Assembly Joint Environmental Committees, who are looking into the after effects of Hurricane Sandy and some of the steps that should be taken before another storm hits. And you have some interesting experience yourself. Tell us about that.
Well, I work in the structural hazard mitigation industry, elevating structures to keep them from flooding again, and we call it home elevation or structural elevation. And I'm up here in New Jersey as a consultant from the Gulf, being paid by the industry to do outreach, to teach people on how the elevation process works, as well as consulting to help build New Jersey's capacity, New Jersey elevation companies. And so I've been here 9 months and traveled about 9,000 miles up and down this coastline, and I'm trying to advocate for stronger contractor requirements for becoming a registered contractor to do home elevations. We learned in the Gulf when we didn't have stringent requirements for insurance and workman's compensation and qualifications to operate machinery, we had some houses dropped, we had some people killed. The state then enacted these same more stringent requirements for contractors insurance-wise that apparently the state of New Jersey is now, I heard today, looking at enabling legislation to require stronger insurance and experience in order to claim to be a licensed home elevation contractor.
Okay, now the domestic industry here in New Jersey, how prepared are they to respond to Sandy? What's the status right now?
Well, you had, just like in the Gulf before Katrina, you had a handful of, just over a handful of good qualified home elevation and relocation companies. Maybe you had less than a dozen machines, elevation machines, hydraulic elevation, unified jacking machines on the coast or near the coast. You now have companies that have come out of the Gulf Coast with more machines to meet the demand, because you have literally, no one really knows, but we think at least 150,000 structures that have to be elevated in the next 20 years, and you've got insurance, flood insurance, that's changed dramatically to where all those houses that are low on the ground now will have to have their insurance rates rise, because we're no longer going to subsidize those structures the way we have in the last 30 years, because they get flooded more frequently. So we need to get them all elevated, or there are going to be big penalties to live in those houses and have flood insurance.
So the demand clearly is going to outstrip the supply near term. And how much of a backlog is this going to cause? How long will people have to wait to have their homes elevated if they choose to do so?
With the current capacity, we're at over 30 years. So we need to develop education programs for machine operators. We only have 2 machine manufacturers in the entire world that create these machines that elevate structures. So we're going to have to dedicate ourselves as a nation in order to help increase the number of these companies to meet the demand of getting structures elevated as the sea level rises and the climate continues to worsen.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a great business opportunity for some folks out there today.
For those who have a business sense, this is a tremendous opportunity in the next 20, 30 years.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Oh, where can it be reached online if anyone's interested in contacting?
I have a small private consulting company, and those in the industry know how to get in touch with me.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.